News that the Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot is dead in the water might be a little bit premature, as Disney have a new plan for the series. Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So going back as far as 2018, 20th Century Fox with Disney have been planning to do a new Buffy the Vampire Slayer series. Now, this was something I was incredibly excited by because this is a show that, to be honest, I shouldn't like as much as I do. It's a teenage angst type of show. It's, some of the storylines are very not the sort of thing I would normally watch, I'll put it that way. But it just worked. It was one of the cleverest shows on the TV at the time, and you could argue that a lot of TV shows that have followed it have been copying it.
I'm a blood-sucking fiend. Look at my outfit.
A human. I should have smelled it right away.
So I was over the moon when I heard that there might be a reboot. But in the 3-4 years since it was announced, there's had a few problems. And recently, one of the co-creators that was signed on to do the series announced that it's pretty much dead in the water and that it's going to be put on pause indefinitely.
Could forgive me.
Why was that? Well, one of the reasons is that Joss Whedon is on as an executive producer for that project, and he's had a few problems over the last few years. In particular, accusations against him for bullying, etc., during his time on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Charisma Carpenter spoke about almost having PTSD following that time. So, Joss Whedon has been virtually blacklisted by Hollywood, and that has made making this show a little bit difficult.
Do you like my mask? Isn't it pretty? It raises the dead. Americans.
There's also been a massive change in the way TV shows are made in the last 5 to 10 years. Streaming services have become the king, and that really has affected what kind of shows get made and the way they get made. So, Disney decided to put Buffy the Vampire Slayer on hold. But they didn't cancel the idea. They just decided not to go with the people that had signed on so far. So, here's what I'm being told. There is a project for Buffy the Vampire Slayer in very early development. There is a conversation. We even know roughly what the story or the basis for the story will be, but I'll come back to that in a second. The main news, however, though, is that Joss Whedon will no longer be attached to this project. They are moving away from Joss and his production company, and they are going to go the completely new direction.
Your best football season ever. I'm so in shape. I'm a rock. It's all about egg whites. If we can focus, keep discipline, and not have quite as many mysterious deaths, Sunnydale is gonna rule.
Now, 20th Century Fox, and by default, their owners Disney, own full rights to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but they needed to end the current project, end the current contract related to that project, so that they could start with a completely different one. This is why we've had this announcement that the current project was being put on hold indefinitely. Guys, if you like the design, this is available on sci-trek.com. You can even buy Stargate socks. Please go and give it a look. Also, if you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out. And if you enjoy the content, don't forget to become a fully fledged SciTrekker and hit that join button, as well as subscribing to Sides, our sister channel. All of the links are in the description. But what do we know about what Disney planned for the new series? Well, I happen to know because there's been a few conversations with sources I speak to while Disney are now looking for a new production company, and rumors are running around these circles about what they want to do with it. So when Disney start approaching people, they will give a little bit of a blurb about what this new project is going to be about. And in this blurb, they talked about how this new project will be based on the novel by Kendare Blake, In Every Generation.
I laugh in the face of danger. Then I hide until it goes away.
Now, this is actually a book I've read, because I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I can tell you that it's actually a really brilliant sort of next generation novel. It's a continuation of the story. So in this novel, we actually see a new Slayer. Now, I know you say at the end of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Willow, with her magic, activated all of the potential Slayers and created an army to battle against the first evil. But she points out in this novel that actually that was just a temporary fix, that not all of the potential Slayers forever would be activated. And eventually, the Slayers that were activated were killed off or just died. And eventually, there was then the original Slayer was activated. Now, this Slayer was a little bit different to the Buffy idea, but her mother is a character we know. Frankie Rosenberg is going to be the new Slayer. Now, why is that a name you know? Obviously, her mother is Willow Rosenberg. Now, in the novel here, Frankie was actually conceived by the use of magic. Willow is not with Oz anymore. Willow was on her own, and she actually conceived her own child. So Frankie is already very special. But more than that, Frankie is actually the first ever Slayer/witch. In the story, Frankie relies a great deal on magic initially, but learns very quickly that she needs to do more than that to become the Slayer. Now, another thing that I quite like about this novel is we don't ever actually see Buffy. Now, that's going to be quite a good thing because Sarah Michelle Gellar has signed on to another big project, and it would be very unlikely and very difficult to get her back into this new series. Anything more than a cameo would be absolutely impossible. I also like this novel, though, because there's lots of twists and turns that reflect the original series, but do it in a completely different way. As soon as I read it, I thought this would be a great way to bring Buffy back. And obviously, the executives at Disney thought exactly the same thing. So, according to my source, Disney don't currently own the rights to this, but they are exploring purchasing them. Nobody else can buy the rights to the novel because it is so heavily based on intellectual properties Disney already owns. So there's no chance that somebody else could come in and buy it. So as soon as Disney basically acquire the rights to the novel in its full perpetuity, in fact, my source did tell me they could actually use it as a basis anyway, because there is so much intellectual property involved in the book that actually Disney can pick and choose what it wants to take out the novel and never actually have to pay the writer anything. But that isn't the way they're going. They are trying to actually buy the rights to the novel in full. There has already also been conversations, according to my source, with Anthony Head and Alison Hannigan about returning to the new series. Now, apparently, these are conversations that are actually also had under the previous project. Both of the actors expressed a keen interest. Anthony Head has actually talked about it more than once. So it looks like if this project does get greenlit, and we do get new Buffy the Vampire Slayer, well, Frankie the Vampire Slayer, on our screens, then we will get to see Giles and Willow return. But guys, what do you think about this news? Do you think it's got to be Joss Whedon or nothing? Or do actually you agree with me that moving away from Joss Whedon at the moment is really the only way we're ever going to get this TV show back? And I just think it's a very sensible idea for Disney to put a complete stop on the project that just wasn't going to work and to start fresh with something new. Get in the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It really helps us out. And if you enjoy the content and you want to become a fully fledged SciTrekker, please hit that join button. As always, please stay safe. I'll see you next time.